Hello everybody, sorry for the really crappy audio right now, but I'm going to be showing you today how basic redstone works, and we're going to start off with logic gates. And, you know, there might be some of you watching this, they're like, I don't know any redstone, how do I do redstone? Well, the basic idea of redstone is pretty simple. You have a lever going into this block, and you're like, okay, I want it to power this lamp. And you're like, well, how do I get it there? With redstone. So when you turn this on, it turns the lamp on. And how that works is the lever is sending power into the block, and the block is sending power to the redstone. And that sends power to the lamp. Now, there are a couple different kinds of power, and there are limits to what redstone can do. So let's go ahead and discuss those now, because that is definitely something that you are going to need in the future. So let's go ahead and turn this on and just start throwing down redstone. We're just going to throw it down and throw it down and throw it down. Wait a minute. It's not getting power anymore. What happened? Well, this is actually based off of something that happens in real life with signals. What happens is you start out with a really, really strong signal. And then as you go along, you start to lose the signal. And eventually, you just don't have a signal at all. And for redstone, this happens just after the 15th redstone. So right here is redstone number 16, does not power lamp. However, redstone number 15 does power lamp. Or, well, one sec. It does power lamp. I'll explain, well, I might explain why that didn't exactly work later. But yeah, if I were to have done this, it would have worked, because the way that line redstone works, as opposed to just dot redstone or cross redstone or any of that, the way that it works is the redstone only goes in the direction the wire is pointing. And so because what I did was I put it off to the side of the wire, the power did not go into it. So I just wanted to explain that real quick. So you might be thinking, well, if I can only get redstone to go 15, that's not really going to help me a whole lot. I wanted to get it to go way more than 15. Well, then what you'll need is a repeater. A repeater is based off of another thing that is real in real life. And I do believe it's also called a repeater, if my memory serves correctly. And basically what a repeater does is it takes a signal, even the weakest signal, and it turns it into a full signal. It basically repeats the signal. It refreshes it, gets it right back up to full strength, and sends it out. And the process of this, for a repeater that looks like this, just takes one tick. And one tick is 1/10 of a second. Now, if you go up to a repeater and you right-click it, now it'll take 2 ticks. Right-click it again, it'll take 3 ticks, and then right-click it a final time, it'll be 4 ticks. And you can right-click it again to get it back to 1 tick, if I can stop stumbling over my words. So that's actually useful for a few things that we might end up explaining later. Moving on from that, though, you have, your basic input-output gate, right? That's pretty simple. So your input and your output are the same. When you turn this on, this is on. But what if you want it to be the other way around? What if you want the thing to be off when it's off? Or when you want the thing to be on when the input is off? And basically what you do is you attach a redstone torch to the block that is receiving power. The reason for this is because, you see, it's on right now. By default, a redstone torch is on. And since it's attached to this block, it receives power from this block. So what happens when we power the block? When we power the block, it turns off the redstone torch because it flips it from its default. And so the redstone torch stops sending power, which means the output is off, even though we just turned the input on. And this can be useful for a number of different contraptions, and I'm not going to get into it all here, but if you ever have anything where you're like, I want to have the output be opposite of what I input into it, that can be really useful. So now that we have discussed redstone signal strength, repeaters, basic input-output gates, and NOT gates, I'm going to go ahead and move on to things that have two inputs. Let me do that. So here we have input A and input B. And we want this lamp right here, we want it to be on if this is on, if this is on, if both of them are on. The only time we want this to be off is when they're both off. So what we do is we run some redstone. Whoops, that's not what I was meant to do. We run some redstone together, and we run it to that. So now if this is on, it's on. If this is on, it's on. If they're both on, it's on. It doesn't really matter as long as they aren't both off. And I don't know if you caught that. The recording might have blooped it out or whatever. But when I flip this off, there's actually a tick or two of delay before that shut off. So that's something you might want to take into consideration. Another thing you might want to take into consideration is what if you have this line going off to do something else, you know? And you only want this input to turn it on. And you're like, oh, that's great, you know, I got it working. And then you turn this on, you're like, la-di-da-di-da, and you know, you go around your corner and you're like, that's not supposed to be on. What happened is this redstone fed back here, and you don't want that to happen. So here's actually a secondary use for repeaters. Repeaters force redstone to go a specific direction. So if you want your redstone going this way, or if you want your redstone going this way, then you put repeaters like that. So redstone repeaters control not only they can not only renew a signal to full strength, but they can also control what direction the redstone signal is going. So this can actually be pretty useful. So that's the OR gate. It's one of the simplest gates, to be honest. Don't need that anymore. So I need to get rid of this stupid grass. So let's move on to a different gate. Let us move on to the NOR gate. And you're like, hey, that sounds kind of like an OR gate. To which I say, it really is an OR gate. There's literally no difference. So boom, 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 boom. Let's put some redstone repeaters in, as we mentioned earlier, because we don't want any feedback. And let's run this over here. Now, what we want is the opposite of an OR gate. That's why it's called a NOR gate, a not OR gate. So then when we hook this up, you see both of these, I never flipped them on, but this is already on. And regardless of what I flip on now, that's going to turn that off. This is going to turn that off. Just that will turn it off. The only way it'll be on is if everything is turned off. So that's what a NOR gate is, a not OR gate, the opposite of an OR gate. Which is why I said that this could come in handy later, the NOT gate, because the NOT gate is pretty involved in logic gates, because there's the OR gate, the NOR gate, and as we were about to discuss, the AND gate and the NAND gate, the NOT AND gate. So I will be showing off the NAND gate just because it's basically just an AND gate inverted, but I will show it anyways. And actually, I'm putting it together wrong already. Whoopsie daisy. So, let's just boop. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. So, oops. Here we go. This is an AND gate. And I'm going to explain what's going on. So basically what's happening is both of these levers are off, which means both of these torches are on, which means this is being powered. And because it's being powered, the block below it is also being powered, which turns this redstone torch off. Which does, because it's off, the line is off, and because the line is off, the lamp is off. So, what would happen if we turned one on? Nothing, because this, as you can still see, is powering this, which, again, does that thing I just mentioned. But what if they're both off? If they're both off, then this isn't getting powered, which means the block isn't getting powered, which means this goes back to its default state of being on, sending power to this. This is called an AND gate. It means when A and B are both on, it sends power. Otherwise, it does nothing. And You might be looking at this and saying, well, how can I AND gate this? This already has a torch here. Well, that's pretty simple, actually. Just get rid of the torch and replace it with some dust. So NAND gate, AND gate. Pretty simple, right? And a NAND gate will be on as long as it is in any state except for both of them being turned on. So that's pretty simple. And the next two that we're going to cover, or the next three we're going to cover, rather, are not symbols. So give me a couple minutes and I will set those gates up so that you don't have to sit here for 20 minutes while I struggle to put these together, because these are a little more involved than these ones. I will be right back. Alright, I am back. I built the logic gates, and I actually lied. Whoops. The last one I was going to show you isn't too complicated. It's actually, I'll explain it here in a minute. It's actually pretty easy to figure out what's going on. These two, however, well, they're basically the same except one's inverted, but these two are a little more complicated. So this is an XOR gate, and what an XOR gate is an exclusive OR gate. So when I flip this on, it's on. When I flip both on, it is off. And when I only flip the other one on, it is on. And when they're both off, it's off. An exclusive OR gate is basically just only if one or the other is on. It's exclusive, which means that if both are on, it's not going to be on. Only if one or the other is on. And there is a lot of redstone involved here, so I am going to try my darndest to explain this. So this lever powers this block, which unpowers these two redstone. And this redstone does not unpower this because this is still on. So that keeps doing what it's doing. This is not sending power to this block, but again, that doesn't matter because this redstone on top is still on. And then that sends no signal out because it's being inverted. Sends no signal out to this, which comes up to here. This block ends up getting powered. And that, wait, no. Yeah, it sends no signal to here, which sends no signal to the block, which makes this turn on, which makes this turn on. And I know that was a lot to absorb, but it's the same for both sides. But when both are off, let's turn them both off so that we can visually see this. This entire sector is turned off. And because of that, this middle block finally is unpowered, which means this can send redstone signals to both of these, which basically makes it the same as if both of these were turned off, because when both of these were turned off, the redstones on either side were sending power to here. So basically, this little thing in the middle makes sure that it's exclusive. That's what it's doing there. It's being like, okay, so if all of these are off, then I'm here to make sure that it stays off. And this is an XNOR gate, or an exclusive NOR gate, or a not exclusive OR gate, or, well, a lot of other things. But it's just an inverted one of those gates. So, whoop, it's basically the exact opposite. When both of them are on, did I build this wrong? I may have built this wrong. Uh-oh. Okay, somehow I had forgotten the thing that I really stressed in the other one, the torch that keeps it exclusive. So let's try this one more freaking time. They're both on. They're both off. It's on. One turns on. It's off. Both turn on. It's on again. And and one of them is off. One's on. It's off again. It is the inversion of the other gate. Where it was only one or the other. This time it's only both off or both on. So this brings us to our final gate, which is the only gate. The only gate is actually a specific mutation of I do believe the not the XOR, the NOR gate. And basically what this is this is on, it's on. If both are on, or well, if let me label these actually, because this might get confusing. Let's label this as A, and this as B. So we got A and B. Let's turn them both off. B is on, nothing happens. They're both off, nothing happens. Both are on, nothing happens. So what's the big deal? It only turns on when this one is on, the one that has the torch behind it. This is an only gate. Only if A is the only one on will this turn on. And I say it's a mutation of the NOR gate, but that's technically not true, depending on how you think about logic gates, because there are actually two different ways to think about logic gates. Because the first way you can think about it in terms of binary is, you know, both on, A, B, both off. And that's one way you can think about it, which is, let's say we're talking about the AND gate. It's on when they're both on, and off the rest of the time. So it's 1 and 3 zeros. The other way to think about it is on, 1, off. So on as in both are on, 1 as only one of them is on, and off as in both are off. So then that would be 1, 0, 0. And the only gate only counts as a logic gate if you're using the 4-digit version. Because with the 4-digit version, the only gate is a logic gate because it is 0, 1, 0, 0, or 0, 0, 1, 0, depending on whether you want A or B to be the only one that has to be on. So that can get a little confusing, and I hope I didn't confuse you too much by bringing that little extra tidbit up at the end. But yeah, those are the basic logic gates that people use in Minecraft. And there are 3 input logic gates, but I'm not going to really be getting into those because, well, not really, no, just no. They get really complicated once you get to 3 inputs. I'm just going to teach you the 1 input and the 2 inputs, because 3 inputs, you're a little crazy. So I hope you enjoyed watching me mess up Redstone. I hope you did learn something from this video if you aren't a master at Redstone already. And yeah, I might be making more of these videos if I decide to. If so, I might do some videos on comparators and hoppers and some of the more complicated mechanics of Redstone, such as semi-conductivity, which that's a fun one to get into that I didn't realize existed until quite late into when I got into Redstone. So hopefully you liked the video, you learned something from it, and have a good day.